Yeah, this is Penn Gillette, preaching love on Penn Sunday School. Johnny Thompson, many of you know, my hero, my mentor, my friend, my co-worker. Johnny Thompson, who I did the Gambler's Ballad about. Johnny Thompson, who was the great Thompsoni and who we did the Dove Act in our show. Johnny Thompson, who for over 20 years has been working with Penn and Teller, guiding us on everything. Johnny Thompson, who is like a grandfather to my children. Johnny died today. Today is Saturday. I'm recording this early. Johnny died. He was working on Penn and Teller Fool Us, and he, right after working with an act, he collapsed next to Mike Close. His heart stopped. There was CPR. The EMTs got his heart going again. He went in and was in the hospital from that Monday until today, so 10 days. He was conscious for a few moments. I spoke to him, made a few jokes, but he couldn't answer back because he had a ventilator in his mouth. But he was clearly there, and I made eye contact. And then he died. And we knew he was going to. We're taking care of his wife, but it doesn't make it any easier that we knew he was going to. So I'm doing the show tonight, Saturday night. I'm doing the Penn and Teller show. Johnny would not have allowed me not to go on, of course. Wouldn't wanted that. Teller and I will go on. But I didn't think I could do Sunday school. I thought that trying to talk for an hour and a half to 2 hours, I was going to have to talk about Johnny, and I was going to break down too many times. I've now been talking 2 minutes, and I've already broken down twice. So I thought about what to do. I was going to just play a show that we pre-recorded, but I decided that I wanted Johnny to be remembered. Not just me talking about him and crying about him. So we had a show that we did. There was Piff the Magic Dragon and Johnny Thompson, and they were yelling at each other and insulting each other, and it was a really wonderful show that shows Johnny at his best. I was going to say something about Johnny, but I can't. Best magician I ever heard about. I used to always say best magician alive. So, Johnny, last words I said to him were, I love you. Last words he said to me were, I love you. So, listen to this show. It's really wicked funny. I love you, Johnny.
Yeah.
This is 7 weeks.
No.
Oh, it's starting.
I'm only halfway through.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School. We're broadcasting live from Show Creator Studios. I'm Matt Donnelly, and in studio with us today is the great Johnny Thompson. With his bodyguard, his tough, his muscle, Piff the Magic Dragon this year.
Good evening. Please stand 5 feet away from Johnny at all times.
And here he is preaching the love. We're talking magic, everybody. Penn Gillette.
Yeah, let's talk magic. You know,
Yeah, let's do a big magic podcast,
Yeah,
guys.
Wait a minute. I got here in the morning. You just said good evening. Have we been here that long?
Yes, Johnny. Yeah, we've been here that long.
as Bob Dylan said, people just get uglier, and I have no sense of time. So we have got Johnny Thompson, the
great Thompsoni.
the great Thompson, greatest magic mind
Yeah.
alive, and we have Piff, a
Good
professional working Vegas magician, and we have Matt Donnelly, who's starting out in magic.
Hey, everybody. I'm just glad to be here.
He's going to ask the questions.
What questions do you have about magic, then?
Come on, anything you want to know.
Okay. All right. So, how much does it matter to when you're first starting off magic? Like, there's so many things out there with like different decks, different trick decks that you have to know, and there's so much stuff where you can understand these like little tiny gimmicky tricks. Like if you're trying to be a performance magician, how much does understanding like these little tricks matter to your development?
Can you ask that question in less than 5 minutes?
I cannot.
Okay.
Nor will
Now,
I.
did you do a lot of little packet tricks, and you did a lot of close-up card stuff, didn't you,
Oh,
Piff?
I was packet king. Piff the packet king. I had a whole range of wallets with a whole range
Now,
of...
for those who don't do magic, packet tricks are when you pull out just a limited number of cards.
19 seven of spades, usually. Here's the thing with 19 seven of spades. Yeah, they have like bizarre cards, like they're like the 3.5 of clubs, or they've got rainbow backs, or...
Yeah, well, and you always take them out in little plastic cases. They got
All
4
laminated
cards in them,
cases.
and
And then you say, this is a perfectly ordinary 4
pack of
cards.
trick cards.
I mean, you have to struggle to get them out of the thing because they're so like gunked up with sweat and they've like bonded to the plastic itself. So you have that struggle. Come on!
So don't start with those then?
You can do whatever you want.
Well, that basically comes from starting out by going to magic shops and buying these little tricks to begin with.
Hey, you know what? I was telling Johnny about Piff and Pop's Magic Shop, the UK tour, and there was a long pause, and Johnny says, "And you're going to make money from this?" I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "How much do magic shops pay these days?"
What are you going to get, 200 a night?
Oh, so now I've already burned the idea of actually doing a tour. Now we're doing Magic Shops tour. Piff and Pop go to magic shops. Much better. Johnny improved it like he does everything.
Yeah, of course. Well, why just lecture?
But
Why just lecture?
I want to talk about learning magic here a little bit because I think it's fun. Teller gets very upset that everything's on DVD now. Everything's on the internet in video, and it's much less text for people learning tricks because video is much less searchable than text. Johnny has, how much does your book go for, the 2-volume thing?
$300.
Yeah, $300.
And it's sold out.
Yeah.
But I've just scanned it, and it's now on eBay for $5 a piece. So I won't.
But it's this big, beautiful book full of pictures, and it is the first magic book I've ever seen that really seems to have everything in it. On the final trick, his $100 prediction,
Which I'm watching as we speak.
you're watching the version on the internet, which is, I saw him do it at a trade show.
I don't want to talk about this.
You know,
I think I'm going to put this in my act. I'm not even kidding.
I'm not going to give it away.
I don't want to give it away. I don't even want to bring any attention to it.
Well, could I at least talk about it? Oh,
Johnny, how
okay.
many people bought your book? How many books did you sell?
The first printing was 1,500, and we
Okay.
just now.
So, Piff, I just want you to know the 1,500 people are thinking the same exact thing you are.
No, they're not, because 1,499 people didn't realize at the end of the trick, Johnny Thompson gave away the $100 trick until this moment, and now they're all like, well, I better take off the cellophane because I was going to put it on the internet and sell it for sweet, sweet cash in a few years. Now there's actually something practical in it. Guys, we're ruining my act.
But Johnny has stuff in this book like once in 5,000 times of doing it, this is what happened, and this is how I covered it.
I will say this: during my when I was putting the Hillbill show together, the embarrassment of riches that I had, which was amongst them getting to sit down with Johnny Thompson whenever he'd have me, and we're trying to.
Well,
come up
I
with
had you a couple of times.
That's true, and it was worth it. The
I
show's
thought
going
we
very
were
well.
going to talk about that in public.
Johnny, I give credit where credit is due.
I mean, who made your money show? Johnny Thompson,
Yeah.
Penn and Teller,
Yeah.
Matt
You.
King.
Yep.
Well, I ruined a few bits, yeah. But, I mean, if anything, that brought you down. If anything, that was the
Because of
obstacle
you, I've
on your
added beach
path.
balls and fishing poles.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean,
Let's not talk about it.
no, let's not dwell on that. Everything I've done has ruined your act.
I
but,
do like a tuning fork joke now because of you.
do you?
Yeah.
What's your tuning fork joke?
When I used to tune into the voices of the dead, I used to just put my hand up in the air, and you said I should use a coat hanger.
This is a good bit.
And then I didn't have the coat hanger one night, so I just grabbed 2 forks from the table in front of me, and I used tuning
That's
forks.
not a tuning fork.
Exactly. That's why it gets a laugh, Johnny.
Oh, okay. I guess it makes sense.
Anyway, so I'm going to go back to the story I was telling. So how was that? I was like, oh, we should come up with like an ending trick, and Johnny just throws out this trick. He throws out, you should do card to wallet, $100 prediction.
No, goddammit, Johnny! Who else are you giving this away to?
RJ, we respectfully was like, I don't know if you're there yet in terms of being able to perform this.
Yeah, I agree.
And I said, I'll take your word for it. And then I told Penn that you were going over different finales, and Johnny threw out some kind of card to wallet thing, and Penn just screamed. He just screamed at me saying, he was going to give you a card to wallet? Like, I almost fell out of my chair.
Like I said,
I couldn't get him to pay, so he didn't get it.
I was in a trade show in San Francisco, seeing him with lay people under fire. It has to be, for that environment, the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Can we talk about the Dove Act? Can we please? I really think this is going to go on my act.
Sure. What harm will that do? People will now hear this podcast. They'll go, I want to see this legendary trick.
So they're going to come to your show.
Let's see Piff fuck it up.
Penn, are you going to put it in your show?
I don't think so.
I'm not going to put it in mine. Johnny, you going back on the road anytime soon?
No, you got it.
Boom! All right, let's get the contracts out, ladies and gentlemen. Penn signs anything we put in front of him. We're good there.
You saw that, didn't you, that I sign anything?
I love it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm not sure whether it works because of the theory behind it or because you're pendulette. That's the only thing that's concerning me about it. But yeah, everyone always asks you to like sign away all your rights to everything everything you do. Oh, hi, you're about to appear on Morning News. Can you just sign this 12-page contract? Have you seen us on the road yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just come to you with this like huge document.
We had a great thing where we were. This is what I stopped worrying about. We were first doing Penn and Teller Get Killed. We were given a contract by Warner Brothers.
Uh-huh.
And the contract said, by signing this, you'll give Warner Brothers exclusive use to the character Penn Jillette
Oh, my God.
and the character Teller. Those 2 characters will not be used without Warner Brothers' permission to getting paid. Reading the whole thing through, and I said to Teller, let's sign it. I don't care.
Let's give away everybody.
Sure. Because when we did Tim's Vermeer, and Tim Jennison was saying, they've actually said in here that I don't have the right to use the name Tim Jennison ever again without the permission of Sony. I said, yeah, sign it. He said, but that's my name. I said, yeah, sign it.
Now, it works out fine for Penn and Teller, as we know. Tim Jennison, can he still use his own name?
He can use his name, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard much from Tim since.
But I have seen some mysterious tech lectures by TJ.
So that trick was amazing. Now, how many trade shows did you work? I mean, how much of your career were trade shows?
Well, I'll tell you, I did 3 shows an hour.
Oh, God, that's
where
you get good.
8 hours a day. Some shows were 10-hour shows, and I had 15 years of that, and I used to do at least 2 to 3 trade shows a month when I was working full-time, so thousands and thousands of performances.
Yeah, when we used to do street performing and Renaissance festivals and so on, you just, you get there at 10 in the morning, you leave at 10 at night, and you just grind.
Yeah.
And I believe, and this is contrary to everything acting tells you, all acting teachers will tell you you want to be there and be present and know where you are. I believe some of my best shows, I had no idea where I was. I had done it so long, it was on such automatic pilot that I was just totally in the flow. And there was no conscious kind of self-awareness at all. I mean, when you're on your 30th show of the day, there's
Yeah.
a certain kind of automatic pilot that takes over that gives you that kind of gentle authority that you have, that people know they're going to see something great. I also love that trick, the card in the wall, the trick, Piff trick. It's in the Piff show.
The Piff the Magic Dragon's $100.
Yes, you mean Piff's new wallet trick?
Yeah.
The
Shortly
thing
to be available on eBay.com.
the thing with that trick is that people can come back to see it over and over. And I can't imagine a layperson seeing that the second time. Because you go, okay, well, I saw it once, and the second time I'm going to learn a lot about it.
Exactly.
I believe seeing that thing 5 times by lay people would be completely mind-blowing. Oh, he has real magical powers.
People would come back to see if, and people would say, "Don't pick the 3 of spades I did last time."
Yeah.
And of course, I never lost a dime. The closest I ever came is I was doing a farm progress show in the middle of a cornfield in outside of Indianapolis, Indiana.
This is
And I
where
had
you'd made it.
Huh?
This is what once you'd made it. Yeah.
Well, that's what it was all about, to get to that show. And
They planted fame in those fields.
yes, exactly. That was my name in the time, Planted Fame. So anyway, this guy's on stage, and we're doing the wrap up, and I let him go, and I glance at the wallet, and I realize the $100 bill is gone. And I said to Pam, "Why don't you tell him about Red Brand Fence? I'll be right back." And I'm chasing this guy in a cornfield, and I catch him, and I said to him, "You took my $100. You're a farmer, the backbone of America." I said, "How could you do that?" He said, "I figured it's the only way I'd win."
And
That's
he
the
was
closest
correct.
I came
He is
to
totally
losing
correct.
it.
Yeah.
He is absolutely correct.
But I had guys.
He's immoral, but he was right.
I had guys who took the trick.
Immoral? Johnny was cheating every single... What do you mean immoral? Are you really going to... It's a magic trick, Matt.
Johnny was not going to end up with $100 of that guy's money. That would be immoral.
What?
Johnny is lying, sure.
What? Johnny's saying, I'm going to give you a chance to win $100.
It's not his money. It's my money.
I'm on Johnny's side on this.
No, you... What? You,
What?
Johnny doesn't have a side yet. You're the one who creates the situation. Don't bring Johnny into this.
No, forget that offer of my wallet trick to you.
So
You'll forget it,
So
Matt.
when you go into this Piff show, you do a magic show. When you go do it and some guy runs off with your money, you're gonna be like, good for him.
No, he's going to chase him like I did. around the
Exactly.
cornfield.
First of all, I now have people to chase him.
That's why he's Piff the Magic Dragon.
Second of all, it won't be money. We're going to be playing for the dog.
You can't
I'm
put the...
going to bet
Oh,
the
no.
dog.
You can't.
Why?
No, you
You
do
can't.
both. You offer the money, and then as a bonus, and I'll throw in
Thank
the
you,
dog.
Johnny, for improving it.
Of course.
Yes. Where Penn says you can't, Johnny Thompson says you can, and that's why he's the great.
It's amazing.
I'm not going to argue with
There
that.
isn't one single thing you can suggest that Johnny can't improve.
Nothing. Nothing.
It's
Let's
about
talk about the rest of my act.
yes, and that costume you have too.
Gosh, I'm a genuine mythical creature, Johnny, please.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, my God. What next? Matt's not a hillbill? Come on.
I presume you'll be liking caterpillars next.
I love that guy. What, you talking about the guy on America's Got Talent?
Oh, yeah.
I love that guy.
I thought you would.
I just did a podcast with him. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
What is this?
Where's he going to work that act?
Why would you sully this conversation?
What's the act?
The guy comes out.
Hang on, no. Let me explain this.
Oh,
Let me give you the
You're going to
context.
glorify it.
First of all, I saw this guy.
Yeah.
There's a show called Scott Neary's Booby Trap.
Yeah.
So he did a video advert of this act, and for about 3 seconds in this video clip there was a guy in an enormous, he's like a full body snake costume, and he's got a guy from the audience and he's just put him inside his like snake mouth, and he's now eating the guy, so the guy is like going through his costume. So I'm
That's
like,
a lot better
so
than
I'm like,
the
this is already
caterpillar.
the greatest thing I've ever seen. So then I speak to my friend Maura the Amazing, who's a hula hooper. I'm like, you do Scott Neary's Booby Trap, please, who is this guy? Put me in touch with him. So she connected me. He said, I said, I've seen 3 seconds of your act. It's already the greatest thing ever. He said, I just did it on the Gong Show. So I watched it on the Gong Show. Really good spot. Then America's Got Talent comes out this season, and I just see this guy's stupid little face in a caterpillar outfit as a still, and I'm like, thank God. I immediately text the executive producer of America's Got Talent. I'm like, congratulations, you just struck gold. And this guy's called Seth Wood. Then I watched the act because I knew it was going to be great. And here's what they do. And this is, again, the genius of America's Got Talent, is they introduce this guy. He's sort of typical LA actor, a bit hipster looking. And he talks about how his dad is like some scientist or something. His brother's a lawyer. He is really feeling the pressure to make it, and this is his big shot, and he's always tripped to being an actor, and it just cuts to him coming out in a caterpillar outfit and immediately falling on his face
And rolling around the floor.
and then trying to hatch into a butterfly. So he's like in a sleeping bag basically. He's trying to like pop out of it into a. So he then changed into his butterfly outfit, and he's got a butterfly penis.
Yes.
In the
That's
outfit.
all I saw. The wings
He's got a
didn't work on
butterfly
it.
penis that is just flopping around, and America's Got Talent are all going, boo! This is the worst thing we've ever seen. And I'm like, thank God for this guy. He is my hero. He is a legend.
Well, yeah, because he makes you look good.
Know it, girl. I love him. With Seth Wood.
Okay, well,
When's Hillbill going
I
to
knew
America's
you
Got
were a
Talent?
little demented. This proves it.
Yeah.
I tried last year, and there was a no-go. It was
Who was it? Who, from them?
yeah. They recruited me, and then, but they were only interested in that I used a chicken, and they wanted me to only use the baby chick in the
Sounds reasonable.
show.
Yeah.
And then I remember this is when I was a whole 3 weeks into magic when this happened. And
You're probably best
Of
off.
course, everyone wants to get into show business in 3 weeks. Yeah.
so I said, well, you're the 6 tricks I know. And they were like, no. But we like that you work with a chicken.
He said it 7 times. They said no twice to one.
What was
Yeah, I really hard pitched.
That beard gets any longer, you'll be doing the Mountain Man magician.
Yeah.
That's fine with that. Whatever. People seem to like it. But
Do you have to wash your beard?
I do.
Do you shampoo it?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you got some like fancy hipster beard oil?
Not yet.
That's the next stage.
Is the next stage. I guess it depends on how cute the next girl give me a haircut is. Then I'll be buying whatever she tells me to buy for my beard. What
if she's not a hairstylist?
she's just someone who walks around. It's like, hey, you should buy beard oil. Whatever you say, miss.
Okay. I didn't know they made beard oil.
It's a big industry.
Beard oil?
Yep. It's the new thing.
We're putting tariffs on it.
There'll be a tax war going here.
American beard oil is moving to Sweden.
Yeah. We're going to set the beard oil fields on fire. That's the new thing. We're going to invade countries for their beard oil fields.
Yes.
So in my show, I had a chicken, but I put the chicken in a bag. You mix around the bags, and then smashing all the bags, right? And they said that Simon Cowell hates even the idea that you might be cruel to an animal, even
That's
if it's
true.
completely whatever, and that a far more experienced magician than I had
Can we tell a story we're
experience.
probably not supposed to? Probably. Matt King.
That's exactly. Penn looked at me. We knew we were dancing around it, and then you.
Why can't we tell the story?
Tell the story.
It's not ours to tell, I guess. But go ahead.
What? I'll just pretend I'm Matt King. Well, just Johnny tells a story and then he won't get into trouble. Nobody's gonna ever take Johnny aside and say you shouldn't have told that story.
Anyway, Simon
What
Cowell.
story am I telling?
Simon Cowell
Yes.
has trouble even with cruelty to animals that doesn't happen.
Right.
He was very upset at a magic trick that pretended to do cruelty to animals but didn't do it. Now, when you were on, was he upset at Mr. Piffles?
No.
No, because he was not the judge. Howard Stern. It was the Howard Stern years, and that's probably the only reason I got through to the finals, because I was shooting that dog out of a cannon like there was no tomorrow.
And
Stern
for
loved you.
there was no tomorrow.
What?
For you, there was no tomorrow.
What do
You
you
did
mean?
not win. You lost on American.
That's
it was
his
still
secret.
tomorrow.
It's his secret to success.
Yeah,
he
I
loses
learned it from the
everything.
best.
He lost on
Yeah, where did I get that idea?
So, Johnny, what was the first magic trick you learned?
Hang on a minute. Wait, Johnny, is the world not a better place for Seth with the caterpillar?
Yeah, I guess. No. What are you talking about?
I hope he puts that on his
What's
poster.
next?
Is the real reference
Irving the fried worm? I mean,
Already,
what are
it's
you
a good
talking
idea.
about?
Already, I'm into it. It's very difficult to suggest tonight that I wouldn't be into at this stage. All right, what
So I had to come up with a chicken,
Oh, God,
trick with a
what
trick,
we
and
still-
I'm just wrapping it
what?
up, and you can take it over. You can just.
I don't want to. Penn was trying to bring this back into a sensible conversation about Johnny.
Well,
So,
wait,
all right,
let's
the audience
hear
might be
about the
curious how the story
chicken.
ended, but go ahead.
Tell the story.
Tell us the story.
I had to come up with a new trick.
The audience is really curious about the Matt King story that we're not allowed to tell.
We kind of told it.
We didn't tell it at all.
Didn't
Go
tell
back
that?
and listen to Penn talk about somebody doing some
He left
trick.
out
He's
all
talking
the
about
good
Matt
bits. He left out all the good bits.
King. I'm literally trying to railroad this back to Penn. I've been a co-host for the show longer than you. And you're interrupting the railroading that's trying to make the show more efficient. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, I know. Have you not seen my act? That's like my resume. That's like my tagline. Piff the Magic Dragon. Inefficient.
Loser.
Inefficient loser.
Johnny, what was the first trick you learned?
No, just tell us the thing about the chicken.
I had to come up with a brand new trick that involved a chicken in 24 hours with 3 weeks of magic experience. So that's why I didn't end up on America's Got Talent last year.
You gonna try again?
Yeah.
Gonna still use the same chicken?
Same chicken, same trick. I'm going right back.
That is not going to go well, buddy.
I'm repeating my mistakes.
We did in way back in the 90s, we did an MTV award, right? And the MTV awards, we decided, I got this idea that I loved, where we came out with Gibson guitars, right? And each played an E chord, really loud E chord. And then we took the guitars and smashed them, like The Who. And then I addressed the camera and said, The Who smashed their instruments on stage because the music they were playing could not contain their passion. We're not musicians, we're magicians, and we use a rabbit. And this rabbit cannot contain our passion. So we took the rabbit and we put it in a case, and then Teller started doing magic with it. And then I wanted to say the thing Elvis said when he first, at least what sounds like on the record, first played rock and roll, when he said, "Hey man, wait, that don't swing. Let's get real gone." So after we were going to vanish the rabbit, he was vanished and showed empty. I said, "Hey man, that don't swing. Let's get real gone." And we smashed apart all the equipment that supposedly had the rabbit in it, like we'd done with The Who, right? Now this is at in L.A. at the amphitheater, right? It's a big, huge crowd, and the crowd was very heavily broken down. There was Aerosmith and the old rockers. There was Guns N' Roses, the new rockers. Then there was Run DMC and Public Enemy. And all the urban rockers, and we had been just done a video for Run DMC, so we were sitting with Run DMC and Public Enemy and all those guys, and then so we showed and the people went crazy and we smashed the rabbit, and then we went, wait a minute, we don't want anyone to be upset. He said we had done a switch. And the rabbit was not actually in there. The rabbit was over here in the amp that was behind us. And there was a special compartment, and Teller pulled out the rabbit, and the audience all went, "Ah," and relieved. And then Teller drop kicked the rabbit into the audience. So there were.
This is such a good bit. Why are you not still doing this bit?
And the
I
crowd.
love this bit.
This
They
is a
ran out
great
of
bit.
rabbits.
The crowd went crazy. It was wild, and they just kicked out of the audience and looked great. And they did, reaction shots of, Guns N' Roses. Everybody. The next act up was In Excess, Michael Hutchence, right? And Michael Hutchence went up to do his award, and he said, "I just want to say now, I live for the time when all people and all animals are
Who's he
treated
pointing to?
us.
Oh, not the rabbit in the
No.
fourth row.
No. And all animals are treated with respect even symbolically. Now, because of where he was pointing and where he was looking directly at Public Enemy and Run DMC, because we were sitting there among them. And for some reason, In Excess had already gotten on the nerves of the rappers. We know some of the reasons. So they began yelling and questioning, shall we say, his sexuality.
Yes.
And they were yelling really abusive things at him. And then he started yelling back at them to protect this rabbit. And Tell and I were sitting there going, it was a fake rabbit. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And it turned into this whole, like, big thing. They had to stop the taping and redo stuff and edit that whole thing out.
Oh, man.
It turned into a really nasty, it was almost like Penn and Teller and In Excess were going to start a race riot based on a rabbit. And it was really funny because MTV was so angry at him for angering Run DMC and Public Enemy and making them reshoot and stuff. They called me up and said, the new In Excess video is going to debut on MTV next week. We'd like you to announce it. So I called up Eddie Gordeski, funniest man in the world, and I said, Eddie, he'd been at the MTV thing, he knew how bad it went. I said, they've asked me to introduce the new In Excess video. And Eddie said, oh, that's great. That's great. I said, I need a joke for you. He said, I got the perfect joke for you. So the name of the song we were debuting was called Suicide Blonde. And I introduced it like this and said, we have a debut here on MTV. It was by In Excess, and the song was originally called Suicide Blonde, but Michael Hutchence is so sensitive, it's now called Got Real Depressed, so ate a lot of chocolate blonde. And then a while later, I ran into the bass player for In Excess and said, I was introduced to the bass player of In Excess. And I said, oh, well, that was kind of uncomfortable there at the amphitheater at the MTV Awards. And he said, we were all on your side. It was Michael Hutchence alone. But that idea, the idea that when we went on Saturday Night Live, we did a thing where we cut a snake in half.
Yeah.
We pretended to cut a snake in half. It's a good trick, but it's cut and restored rope done with a snake. We also did it on Fool Us, but we originally did it on Saturday Night Live. And
Isn't that when they got all the complaints?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lorne Michaels told us it was the most complaints they'd gotten in Saturday Night Live history that we cut a snake in half. And Lorne read me one of the letters, which was great, which said, we know this was probably a magic trick, but it could give people at home an idea. Like two people watching TV going, hey, Fred, look at that. Let's go find a snake and cut it in half. And what really made it amazing to me was the week before, the month before, we had put Teller in a water tank and drowned him until he was dead and got no letters of complaint on that whatsoever. So I should say to Simon Cowell, the guinea pig that Mac King had on your show was not in any way, shape, or form mistreated. And when you break Mr. Piffle's leg...
Not on America's Got Talent, I don't. Oh, my God. I know better than that. No, we did a thing on America's Got Talent where I had 4 boxes hanging from the ceiling, not the ceiling.
From the flies.
Thank you. The great Thompsoni. Thank you.
Mr. Showbiz.
Mr. Showbiz.
Knows the word flies.
I said inside one of the boxes is Mr. Piffles. The other 3 boxes contain the hopes and dreams of Mr. Piffles. In other words, they're empty. Then we let Howie Mandel choose a box. We destroyed the other 3 boxes. Opened up the last box. Mr. Piffles is safe and sound. Heidi Klum stormed up to me, like, as soon as I finished, came rushing up. Why would you put Mr. Piffles in a box? Why would you do that? Why would you put the dog in a box? I was like, Heidi, the dog is not in the box, you dickhead. Do you really think I would trust the life of my chihuahua to Howie Mandel on a 1 in 4 chance on live television?
And then Johnny has to play the blues based on that.
Yes.
Pulls out a harmonica, plays the blues.
That was it.
Is this Johnny's phone going off?
Yeah, that's Johnny's phone.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. No, whatever I was saying. That's just, God, I need to.
That set off my phone.
Now you.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start the bit from the beginning now because I can't
Okay.
remember where I got to.
You got to
So I was on
Heidi
America's
Klum.
Got Talent.
Heidi
Yes.
Klum.
It doesn't help.
Heidi
So
Klum
she came up to me and she said, do you really think I would put the... Oh, God. Johnny, your phone has ruined this bit.
You said. You really think?
Yes,
Let me just
start
say-
over again. We'll cut it out.
We're live streaming. Welcome to the internet.
No, we're not.
We're not?
No,
You're kidding.
it's a bank show.
It's a bank show?
Yeah.
Oh! This just got so much better. I can have 4 or 5 stabs at this one then.
Okay, go ahead.
Here we go. So I was on America's Got Talent.
Johnny, can you turn your ringer back on? Thanks.
Okay.
Wait, did you call him Rich?
Yeah, well,
Did you call him in the first
we
place?
weren't going to tell you.
Oh, my God.
Okay, you're on America's Got Talent.
Yes, and Heidi Klum comes up.
She storms up to me and she says, why would you put Mr. Pivers in a box? I said, Heidi, it's a magic trick. Do you really think I trust the life of my chihuahua to Harry Mandel in a 1 in 4 shot on live national television? Oh, God, I don't even know what I'm saying now. You know what?
What you're doing is exposing the secret to a trick.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Go ahead. So you said this.
Yes,
And what
yes.
did she say? Where's the punchline?
Where is the punchline?
It's like
'Cause
all
it's
of
there.
your tricks. They have no punchline.
You called Heidi Klum a dickhead. I don't know if there's a bigger punchline than that.
Did you call Heidi Klum a dickhead?
Yeah.
Yeah, just now.
And then, wait. Oh, God.
You think for a moment. Here's the thing I hate about people being sensitive about you Teller kicking a rabbit, Matt King eating a hamster.
Here's the tragedy of this situation. I think the punchline might have been, do you really think I would have trusted Harry Mandel with the life of my chihuahua in a 1 in 4 shot? I think that was the punchline.
Yeah.
Not much of a punchline.
When you're doing comedy,
I mean, I agree. but I'm sure I used to do this bit in my show and I used to get a laugh with it. Now I'm just trying to wonder how I got that. All it took was, there must have been more to it than that.
No.
Really? You think an audience would laugh at that?
Sympathy.
Well, that's
you met
his
my audience?
career is sympathy. What are you talking about?
So go ahead, Matt.
when you're doing a comedy magic where you pretend to kick a bunny, right? The joke is that we all think animals should be treated well.
I remember what it was. Sorry. I just remembered.
Here it goes.
What is it?
Okay,
No.
here's the punchline.
Look, we can edit that out. Let's just pretend I said that in silence. Okay, so do your bit, Matt. But just be quick because I might forget it again.
Sure. Otherwise, it's not. We all think you should treat animals well. That's what makes it a joke. So you getting in your high horse to me that, hey, we should treat animals well because I pretended to kick a stuffed bunny? Like, that makes you tell me that, like, everyone doesn't know to treat animals well.
Right. It's like if you take a bottle of water and slam it down,
Yeah.
no one complains because we don't care how that's treated.
You're not a hanging out magician. You're a comedy magician.
It's like the Aristocrats.
Yeah.
The reason the joke was shocking is that we all think that what they were doing is wrong.
Right.
Except Johnny.
No, I was all for it.
Now, Piff,
I don't think you...
finish the story.
Yes, give us the punchline.
Kill us.
It's gone again.
See what you did? You made him forget.
Wait, I had
the
another
punchline.
point.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't think, like, when people have that argument with you and they say, do you think that it's funny to kick a dog in the face? It's like, well, you can never argue out of that position. You can't ever be like, yes, it's funny. But equally, like any sort of form of art where anything terrible is happening, you cannot argue that as well.
Exactly. As Michael O'Donoghue said, the question is not.
Hang on. Hang on.
Yeah, hell
Just
with
want you
you
to do me
being
a
the
favor.
host of the show. Let him take over.
No, I'm not. Look, wait. I've got an issue here, guys.
Okay.
I've got a pressing
You've
need.
got an issue about everything.
Yes, I do. I'm English. Welcome to it. People say to me all the time, actually regularly they say this, oh, you're mean to the dog, whatever. Now, what I would like here is a pithy soundbite from the mouth of Penn, who is so good at these that I can remember, much like the joke I'm trying to recall brutally, and I can say it at all times. So could you now give me the correct answer so that I can parrot it regularly for the rest of my life?
Is this for the punchline? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I'm still working on that, but don't worry, I'll come back to that.
I care about that dog much more than you do.
No, it's not. Really?
That's the answer. That really is the only answer. I mean, the thing is that I guess that there are people that don't take for granted that we want animals treated well.
Well, I guess there are people who don't understand that if the dog dies, then I don't get paid.
Yeah, you don't have an act.
It's kind of like that's not a magic trick. It's not a magic trick if the dog is hurt.
Right.
That's part of what Matt was saying. It's like when David Blaine was in a box not eating and he got thinner. That's not a magic trick. If he were in a box not eating and got fatter, that's a magic trick.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a pretty good trick.
Really good trick.
That would be a really good trick.
Yeah, it would be, isn't it?
That's so much better.
It is.
God, I hope he's listening. That would be a great bit for him.
You haven't seen his live show, have you? This tour that's
No.
out? I've heard it's great. Have you heard
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure
great?
it is.
Yeah, everyone,
Everybody
every
loves it.
magician I've talked to who've seen it raves about the show.
Loves it.
Yep.
I want to see it.
I want
Johnny-
to see him in a box getting fatter.
Yeah, me too.
Can I ever go at my joke?
Sure.
Yes. Here we go.
Do you want to
All
set
right.
up?
No.
Don't forget it now.
I think okay. So I said, do you really think I would trust the life of my chihuahua to a 1 in 4 shot? God damn it, Matt Donnelly. That is so... Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever happened to Piff the Magic Dragon? He gave up. Oh God, I wish I could have heard that live. It was a bank show.
Do you really think I would trust the life of my chihuahua? Go ahead.
Really? All right, I'll give it a go. Do not pick up your phone, Matt Donnelly. Do you really think I would try? Hands above the table, guys. Mine too, because it would be hilarious to do it again. And I really am tempted to call out Johnny myself at this point. I can't even trust my thumb at this stage. Do you really think I would trust the life metro to hammer down a 1 in 4 shot on live national television? And then I said, and then I would mime ripping the box open, and I would say, "He's dead. Good night, America. Come and see us in Vegas. We've got barrels of chihuahuas out there." Boom! Punchline. All I need now is a guy in a caterpillar suit.
That's it, huh?
Ah, God damn it. Somebody ring him up. I think your phone's on vibrate, Johnny. It's definitely going off.
So, Johnny,
Yes.
I get asked all the time, and I do mean all the time, on Twitter, live, everything. I'm interested in magic. How do I start? Johnny, someone's interested in magic. How do they start?
Well,
A child, maybe. Let's start with the child.
yeah, I guess by today's standards, you'd probably go into a magic shop and try to buy some simple magic tricks. You know, to get started. The other way, which is what I did, and most magicians in my era, we went to the library and read magic books.
What magic book do you recommend for a beginner magician?
Well, if it's for cards, I recommend the Royal Road to Card
That's
Magic.
Teller's too. Teller loves
Yeah.
the road.
That's my favorite.
I like
I
card.
wish I had this. Hang on a minute. Let me dig around so that I can find an interview where it doesn't look like I'm hopping on a bandwagon here. I need to find this.
Well, I'll tell you why that's
It's a fine
wonderful book.
bandwagon to jump.
No, that was my favorite. I read it cover to cover.
Well, it's now my favorite too.
No,
So-
screw you. Screw you, Matt Donnelly.
Well, why is
just-
it
Not
your
my favorite.
favorites? Why is it your favorite?
That's my favorite because Teller loves it and Johnny Thompson loves it.
Well, no, I'll
What?
tell you why.
I tell you why.
Well, he's
Can I-
going
can
to
I-
tell
can I
you
tell
why.
you-
I'll shut up.
No, no.
Tell us why.
Well, listen, I don't want to jump over this, but equally, I don't want you to tell us why, and then me have the exact same reasons.
You won't have.
His phone's going off again. His phone is going off again.
It seems to be activated by you.
Piff. Why?
Johnny's phone's allergic to me.
Never mind, Johnny. Piff.
No,
Why is the
Yeah, we
Royal
want to
Road-
hear from you
Yeah.
why it's
Why it's the best.
a great book.
Let me just look. You can just. This is a bank show. You can edit all this out, and then we can get the real wisdom from Johnny.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Because
No, not with you here.
Go ahead.
Because not only has he got some sweet moves, it's really got the 7 basic moves in Magic you need to know. I don't think it has a second deal, so maybe it doesn't. But it has at least 4 or 5 of them. Then it also has 4 routines that you can use, and they're good tricks. So you can learn the tricks in the show. You've got all the routines, you got all the sleights to build your own routines. It really is the path to magic.
Johnny.
That is not the reason.
Yes! Yes! I came up with my own goddamn reason, and I'm proud of it. I'm sticking by it even if it's wrong.
Well, I'll tell you.
What's the reason, Johnny?
It starts out like this. It teaches you to shuffle cards. Just overhand shuffle cards. Then it teaches you a trick that only utilizes an overhand shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Then it gives you a move to go with the overhand shuffle, and they give you a second trick that's based on a move in the overhand shuffle. And it goes on like this, and it gives you a complete repertoire by
trick
the end
for
of
every
it.
move.
A trick and all the moves at the same time, and you learned it in increments. And that's why
Is
it's
he
such
not
a
saying
great
what
book.
I'm saying, but better?
Much better.
Much better. But
The
doesn't
word
that-
you missed was incremental.
But don't we take that for granted when I speak? We just try and dig to the gold of what I'm saying. It's just covered in shit.
You speak incrementally, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Teller, when he was in high school, had a job filling gumball machines. And he would meet the other gumball fillers during lunch. And he promised himself that entire summer he would do a new card trick for them every single day.
Huh?
So he would go, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, those people that had to work with him, what a terrible thing. He would go home every night.
I never realized how content I was to just fill gumball.
I didn't know there was a whole complement of gumball fillers.
These guys just can't wait to get off lunch. Can't wait to get back to that
Get
machine.
back to those gumball machines, yeah.
What do you do for a living? Oh, I spend an hour on a lunch break. The rest of it's a vacation.
These guys' least favorite book is The Royal Road to Magic.
No, card magic.
Card
yes.
magic, yeah.
At least
I can't.
explain it correctly.
I know, I won't. I went for it and it's gone.
When did you first read The Royal Road?
Oh, when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you do tricks for everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you get better by
Now, the hardest,
constant performing.
really hard thing was how did you first, before people come up and begged you to do a trick, how do you approach somebody? I talked to a lot of magicians about this, but when they're unknown, how did you go up and say, want to see a trick? What was your opener to do that? Like when you were like 15?
Well, when I was 15, I didn't know any better. I just did tricks for them, you know.
But did you have an opening line?
Well, when I did walk around in restaurants and bar, I would just walk up and say, "Hi, I'm the house magician. I'm here to magish for you," and that was my opening line. You know.
What was your opening line?
I never did walk around.
Okay, well, let's pretend you did and make it a good story. So what was your what was your opening line?
What would be my opening line?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have never been able to find one, so I can't do tricks. I've never been coded.
For a guy who's made his living as a magician for the last 40 years or better, I think that's pretty unusual.
What would you do?
When I was traveling on the tubes in London, I would pull my magic pad and just hope people would be curious about what I was doing and come up to me on the magic pad. And
I used to do that when I was traveling on the train in the UK. You know this. That's why you're pretending to tell the story.
Yeah.
Just bullshit.
Why isn't my phone ringing?
Yeah, why don't you ring them now? Instead of, I used to travel. I used to have, I used to travel on these 4-hour train journeys, from one side of the country to another.
Why were you going
That's
across
it.
the
That's
country?
England. One side of the country to another's 4 hours.
Yeah, it's tiny. Why do you think I struggle in this country? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is 3 time zones. That's 3 too many. 3 time zones.
No,
It's
no, 4 time zones.
Yeah, you're right. Look at that. I forgot one. Once again, Johnny's right about everything. My opening line was, I'd walk up to a table and say, "Good evening, have you seen The Magician?" And they would go, "No." And I'd be like, "Ta-da."
That's
Not
good.
bad,
That's
is
a
it?
good line.
Yeah.
And what was your opening trick?
I believe it was the invisible deck. I would say, all right. I said, right, let's do a card trick. Who's got any playing cards? And then they would say, none of us, and I would berate them. It would be a constant barrage of me shouting at people.
Your normal act.
Well, no, it wasn't, because I didn't have the dragon outfit at that point. So that was the period when I was just
Were
being
you
fired
in a
everywhere.
caterpillar outfit?
God, I could only dream of it. I could dream of it. I was in a suit, and people would be like, "Who is this prick? Who is this prick ruining my
You
nice
had a
evening?"
prick suit?
I wish. Any one of your suggestions would be better than what I did, which is just appearing in a nice, business suit and yeah,
Berating people until they didn't
berating
like
people.
you.
Yeah. Well, not till they didn't like me, to further their dislike. Even when I appeared at the table, that was already. They were already like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
And they're still doing it.
Yeah, but now I've got a cute little dragon outfit.
And what was your opening trick?
It was the invisible deck.
And then you would just
So I would say, all right, we'll just pretend. And I would say, shuffle the cards. Shuffle the cards. What the hell are you doing? Shuffle the cards. Who shuffles like that? Who? You're making a mockery of this whole thing. And I say, pick a card, but don't ruin it with some Ace of Spades bullshit. Come on, this is. At least pretend it's difficult. If you got a good one, change it. Now turn it upside down, throw it in the air. All right, this guy's going to catch it in the cards. Throw it up in the air. They throw it up, and I go, be like, all right, catch the cards. Boom, he catch the card. He didn't even move. That's how good he is. He doesn't even look like he gives a shit about what's happening now. He didn't move. He didn't flinch. The card is now in the deck. Somehow, no one can explain it. Pass me the cards, and then I would produce them, and they'd be in the box, and I'd be like, "Oh, look, you put them in the box too. That was nifty." And then I'd say, "Name your card," and they would say, "What?" And they would name whatever, and I would be like, "What?" And then I would shake my head, and I would hold up 4 fingers, and I would be like. And then they would eventually go 4, and I'd be the 4 of, and then I'd mime shoveling, and then eventually they would say the 4 of spades, and then I would go through the cards, and one card would be reversed, and it would be the original card they named, and then everybody would be confused and say, "What did the 4 of spades have to do with it?"
That's it, huh?
Way to ruin a good trick.
And what was your first trick, Johnny? Your opening when you did walk around.
Well, the very first trick I ever learned, I think you realize it, but when I was a kid, I didn't want to be a magician. I saw a movie about a Mississippi riverboat gambler, and that's what I decided I wanted to be. I saw the Derringer hat, the frock coat, the brocade vest, dealing in cards. I wanted to be a card cheater. My mother took me to, on Wells and North Avenue, a used bookstore, and I bought the only book I could find on card cheating, The Expert at the Card Table. And I spent 4 years.
The famous book and the hardest book in the world.
Yeah. Well, in those days, in the 40s, they thought it was academic. They didn't think you could really do the stuff.
Right.
And so I spent 4 years trying to master everything in the book. And after 4 years, I came to the rude awakening. There weren't a lot of places for a 12-year-old card cheater. So I looked in the back of the book. It said ledger domain. I had to figure out what that meant. And the first trick I learned was the card through the handkerchief. You have a card selected, shuffled back in the deck. You wrap the deck in a handkerchief, and you shake the handkerchief, and the card falls through the material.
Yeah,
apparently,
Teller just did that on a morning news show.
Oh, yeah, it's a great trick.
Really nice.
That was my first trick.
You guys sing the praises of books over videos.
Absolutely.
It took me forever to even just realize what the word injog meant. Like
Injog.
What do you think I did at 8 years old when I read Injog? It took me like 3 months, by the way,
I think
to
what Matt's
figure out all the terms.
All that Matt's saying, it's been a real struggle for him to learn magic. Where being taught by Penn and Teller and Johnny Thompson and Matt King. He's really had to fight his way up from the middle. Yeah, he really has. Oh, I'm sorry, you really suffered that you didn't know what in-jog meant. How can we make it easier for Matt Donnelly to learn magic, ladies and gentlemen?
He avoids in-jog if he does it our way, yes.
Well,
and phalange, that's another. Is it phalange?
Phalange.
Phalange. I never knew what that was for ages. Oh, God. Yeah, the amount of phalange talk I did as a small child. It's obscene.
I can imagine what you thought phalange meant.
My daughter is right now at Performing Arts Camp in upstate New York, and she called us the other day, and she is talking to her. She has a magic teacher.
Oh.
And the magic teacher, turns out,
Oh, great.
So she said she always learns these tricks. And when he asks her, do Penn and Teller teach you magic? She goes, no. I go to their teacher. I go to Johnny Thompson. And that's who we have here. And we're going to be back on Wednesday with more. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
Now I'll shut my phone off.
You
Can't do
become
that
me.
bit again.
My running bit's gone.
That was a good one, though.
Yeah,
that was good.
great.
Calling Johnny Thompson when Piff's telling a story. He's still pouting. Yeah, Wednesday, more with Johnny Thompson, Piff the Magic Dragon, Matt Donnelly, up Penn Gillette, and I love you.
Penn Sunday School.
Anybody need a pee?
Nope, let's go right ahead.
Can you do a quick reminder on what the blue box is? Next to the mic stand?
I mean, when there's who's doing it?
All of you.
I use it.
It's a cough button. So the blue box next to
The blue
Gina,
box.
right?
You're gonna make an unpleasant noise. Hit that button. Yeah.
Okay.
I was not using it whatsoever. And
No,
I was
you-
making deeply unpleasant.
No, you
I mean,
make enough unusual
Rich was
noises.
being very polite there and saying all of you, but he was looking at me.
Go.
This is Penn Sunday School.
Ho!
And to our listening ears, all nature sings and round us rings the music of the seas.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School. I'm Matt Donnelly along with Penn Gillette. We are broadcasting from Show Creator Studios, and we're back with another fine episode with Johnny Thompson.
Hello.
And the very affable, just lovable, cuddly Piff the Magic Dragon is here in the studio.
And I found out where the cough button is. Can do that, and then
Keep doing that.
There he is.
no problem, Johnny. It's to be a very easy podcast to listen to.
Here he is, Penn
Don't
Gillette.
do very much trouble.
Okay, enough with the cough button, you guys.
That's a dangerous bit to start off this early in the podcast.
It's so good.
I'll tell you that. So, magic. Now, Johnny, you in show business. We're not going to talk about your sewer work.
We're going to get right to the heart of things. I'm not going to do any interrupting on this podcast.
Good.
We are going to get right to the core of Johnny Thompson's secrets. Can't wait, guys. Buckle up. Here it comes.
But in
I
show,
found when I know where the cup button is. Look, I can stop myself interrupting at any point. There we go. Look at that. You can just reach over, press the button, and then I can't interrupt.
in show business,
Yes,
your first job was not as a magician. Is that right?
that's correct.
What was the first showbiz job you got paid for?
Swallowing swords and eating fire.
Mm-hmm.
I was 12 going on 13, and in Chicago in those days before theme parks was the world's largest amusement park. It was 2 miles of midway, 6 roller coasters, shoot-the-chutes, and parachute drops, and all kinds of wonderful rides. And I started going there when I was 8, and by the time I was 12, I decided I was ready to work professionally as a magician. So I went to the 10-in-1 show, is what they're called in the business. That means 10 attractions under one roof. But people refer to it as a freak show.
Yep.
And I went there to get a job as a magician. And I told them I was 16, and I was about 5'10" and a half. And I had a Social Security card from being an usher at 12. So they didn't ask my age. I had a Social Security card. I got the job. Well, I didn't get it initially. I went there to be a magician. They said, "We have a magician. It's too bad you don't eat fire or swallow swords." I said, "Oh, but I do." Of course, I didn't, you know. And I ran the Abbott's Magic Company on Randolph and Street in Chicago, and I bought a book called Thrilling Magic. It taught you how to lay on a bed of spikes, eat light bulbs, swallow swords, and eat fire and so forth. So eating fire was relatively easy. I learned that in a week. Swallowing swords took weeks and weeks and weeks. And First of all, just getting the sword to pass the epiglottis, you start retching and retching, and I didn't know about using a coat hanger to start with. I started with a long butter knife and worked my way up, and it took me many, many weeks, but I finally learned to do it. Even when you get it past your epiglottis, you think you're over the hump. The minute the cold steel hits your esophagus, you start retching again.
Yep.
But now you got this blade going through your throat, Anyway, I've
Good Lord.
eventually-
Just
Yeah.
everyone's underreacting. This is horrible.
Well, no, I tried to learn sword swallowing on TV.
Yeah.
Oh.
I tried to learn it in front of a TV camera, and one of the cameramen refused to keep working there because it was so brutal. And I bruised the hole inside of
Yeah.
myself. I tried to do it in 1 hour on TV
impossible.
and did real damage to myself. It was horrible.
No.
I was sick and running a fever for like a week afterward doing it. But I did it. I got it down.
You did it?
I did.
You can swallow swords?
I got that day. I did. Afterwards, I was totally freaked out. Yeah.
Ooh.
So anyway, I got the job, and I only lasted 2 weeks. That's because I was fired over a geek, is what they referred to him as, but he was a man-made geek. He was a regurgitator named Waldo the Human Ostrich.
Yep. Human ostrich.
Yeah, and so he was kind of dwarf-like, had a humpback, an extended sternum, which they called an extended sternum, and eczema, warts, and a Viennese accent. And he was, all the freak show performers have a way of making extra money. The fat lady sells pictures. The giant will sell a wooden ring. Waldo didn't have to do that. He would come out and he would say, "My name is Waldo, the human ostrich, and I'm here because I have been on the Ripley's Believe It or Not called 6 times, and I'm going to show you why they call me the human ostrich. But first, I have a pie pan here. If you put some change in, I will give you the money back at the end of my performance. If you put a nickel in, I give you a nickel. If you say a quarter, kids would throw pennies and nickels in, hoping to say they got more money. Anyway, once he got it, he said, "This is why they call me the human ostrich," and he would down all the money.
Swallow it.
Yeah, open his mouth, nothing's there. He said, "I'm still hungry, maybe some donuts." And he'd bring out 2 plastic bridle rings, clack them together, put them in his mouth. Open his mouth, they're gone. Now everyone's astonished. He said, "I'm still hungry. Maybe a fish course." He takes a goldfish bowl, catches the goldfish with a net. Now this is before sushi became popular here, guys. He would put the fish in his mouth, the tail would wiggle, down it would go. Women were passing out now, right? And he said, "I'm still hungry, maybe some filet mignon." He'd bring out a little cage with a white mouse, and this was his idea of humor. He would hold the mouse by the tail, he'd reach into his inner jacket pocket, take out a toothbrush and brush its tush, and then he put the toothbrush back, put the mouse in his mouth, leave the tail out wiggling, and then he go, now men are passing out, right? And now he said,
I was already out with the women, actually.
Yeah. And so he said, maybe some dessert. And he'd bring out a bowl of lemons. And people would always select the biggest lemon. And he'd swallow that. And then he'd stand there for a minute. Then he'd regurgitate the lemon back. Out would come the mouse, put it in the cage, was still alive. Out would come the fish right into the water, out of his mouth. Out would come the bridle rings. Out would come all the cash. Nobody ever took a penny. Nobody ever took a penny. So I'm there for 2 weeks, and now I'm going to learn how to clean up. The last 2 acts, which they rotate on 10 and 1 shows. So the last 2 acts for that night, when everyone moves into the annex is another room where they have real, what they call freaks or
The
geeks.
blow-off.
Yeah, the blow-off to the show. And then while they were in there, we'd clean up papers and sweep up quickly and clean the theater. Well, this night, Waldo was the last act I'd already performed, and all of a sudden, something was different. After he swallowed the lemon, Nothing happened. He just stood there. Then he started getting beet red, and then kind of got dark brownish red, and he keeled over. Well, the lemon had gotten caught in his throat. Well, in this amusement park, because it was 2 miles of amusement park, there was a Chicago fire station in the park, right next to out the side door of the freak show. So I ran out. They came over with a pulmotor unit. They pumped his stomach. Now, unfortunately, they killed the mouse and the fish. Well, Waldo came walking to me afterward. I thought he was going to thank me for saving his life. I didn't know this occurred every so often with the lemon. And he says, "What's wrong with you, kid?" I said, "What's wrong, Waldo? Why didn't you do what everyone else does when I get the lemon caught?" I said, "What's that?" "Hit me on the hump." When he said hit me on the hump, I broke up laughing. I got fired the next day.
Well, you know, Stevie Starr,
Yeah.
wasn't he on America's Got Talent with you?
Yeah, well, I worked
He was
in
on the same
Europe,
year.
you know.
Yeah. And he would always, it was great. He just refused to ever back out from any of his lines. So he would be like, "Oh yeah, I swallow a deck of cards, I shuffle them in my stomach. You name a card, I find that with my stomach, and then I cough up the card." And then he'd do the most god awful force on me. Oh, God, really, Stevie?
Yeah, well, he does use his magic, you know.
Yeah, but he just refuses to acknowledge it to anyone.
yeah.
We had this thing where David Blaine wanted to meet him. Mm-hmm. So,
Well, you want to meet sword swallowers for all sorts of reasons.
so Blaine wants to meet him.
But this guy was a regurgitator,
Right.
not a sword swallower. If you really want to meet them.
And I had a friend of mine who was working on the Blaine show, so he rings me up and said, "Can you arrange a meeting between David Blaine and Stevie Starr?" And I did, much to Stevie Starr really didn't want to go. And I said, "Look, you know, just like, if you want, I'll arrange it if you want." Whatever. So we arranged it, he went, and then they just sat there trying to out-bullshit each other. It was just like, I was like, really? They were just, it was unbelievable. Blaine just was bullshit, you know, just like, every time they would just raise it. It's like, you use 4 goldfish, I use a shark. I eat a shark with my face, and then I regurgitate it with my face. And Steve would be like, "Only a shark, I ate a pterodactyl once." Then I ate a shark just so the pterodactyl had something to eat. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so, the people that do not crack.
Oh, I can't be around them.
They have real psychic powers. They're real hypnotists.
Yeah.
They don't ever crack. Not even within show business. And the thing is that nobody cares.
No, who
No,
gives a shit?
you say, "I'm doing tricks," they go, "Good, we like those tricks."
Yeah. It's also people, you remember, we just had, well, not just, but a while ago we had breakfast with Puddles, didn't we? Puddles' Pity Party.
Uh-huh.
And he used to be backstage and would never break out of his clown character, would never talk, would be constantly silent, and I refused to let him anywhere near me because of it. I was like, eventually, but he was doing this to all the comics, and all the comics eventually just said to him, "Look, you can't do this. You know, we know it's an act. Why are you not breaking character? Just be normal, dickhead." And eventually, now if you're backstage with him, he'll talk to you like a regular person.
Well, you know, this is so strange. This will be underlined. But I'm going to say something good about Teller.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
I am really going to say something good about Teller. I don't think I've ever done this in my life.
I'm going to write down the
You
day.
just work with him.
Teller has never done that bullshit even for a moment. Not for a moment has Teller acted like he couldn't talk. And it was always really funny when we would do local television. You know, a lot of times the guy on the air would go, "Well, you know, Teller, you never talk. You can't possibly talk." I would go, "Fuck you." if he knew we were on a delay or something, he would do that. They'd go, "Okay, well, he can talk, I guess."
How many months, weeks, days, or hours would Penn and Teller have lasted had Teller been silent for the whole time?
Oh, wouldn't have made it through a show, not a single show.
Well, you know, people always ask me, "Can he talk?" And I say, "Well, yeah." I said he was a Latin professor, you know. I said, "It's a dead language. He has nobody to talk with."
Exactly. And then where did you go from being fired by Waldo the human ostrich?
Oh, there was a wonderful card magician named Zangoni, Louis Zangoni. And across from the freak show was a skee ball exhibit, and that was run by his in-laws, and he was managing it for him. So I was standing in front of the freak show one day with a pack of cards doing the Erdnase one-hand shift. It's a cut with one hand. And he walked over and he said, "Where'd you learn that, kid?" And I said, "Out of this book, The Expert at the Card Table." So he said, he introduced himself, and it didn't register to me till I saw him start doing some magic.
Doesn't he have a spread?
A what?
A spread. Isn't there a Zingoni spread?
No, yes, there's the Zingoni spread. Yeah, it's in Expert. That's what he told me. He said, check me out in, Expert at the Card Table. Then I realized who he was, when I looked in the book. And I spent the next couple of weeks with him. Well, when I got fired, I went over and told him I was fired. And he said, there's a magician at the other end of the park named the Great Garrison.
That's 2 miles to walk.
Yeah, and so he said, they're looking for an assistant. So I went over there, and I got a job for the rest of the summer as an assistant there. Even a couple times the talker didn't show up. They sent me out to be a talker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so talker is what people refer to as a barker these days.
I had such a fight, in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Terry Gilliam was the director.
Yeah.
And I was in that movie with Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro. And they hired me to do the thing, and I did the thing with Johnny Depp. And then my script said Carnival Barker. And I said to Terry, I got to change that credit. And he said, it's Carnival Barker. I said, I can't. I know people in show business. I can't have my name next to Barker. You have to change it to Talker.
Yes.
Carnival Talker. And we went back and forth and argued and actually got agents involved. And I said, no, I'd take my name off the movie, but I don't want my credit to be Barker. I really didn't. See, we all have to have moral positions we take.
Well, there's some of us here who don't. But
Yeah, I'm an amoral reptile. I don't have a problem with your carnival barking demands.
You don't have a problem with that?
No.
You're okay with it being Talker?
Yeah. Why
That's
would
what
you
it
think
is,
of all
is
the things
talker.
I would have a problem with? That's the point where I finally walk out of the room. I'm like, all right, I'm putting the cough button on. I'm out of here.
keep talking. We can get rid of them.
Now, you once told me, and I love this.
Wait, hang on. Why is the Zingoni spread?
What is it?
Yeah, what is it?
Read it in Expert
No.
Card Technique.
God, I'm going to Google it.
Okay, Google it.
I am. That's what I'm going to
Now
do.
we'll have your phone ringing.
All right, sorry, Penn. I didn't mean to interrupt. We just needed to know what the Zingoni spread for all the listeners.
Okay, Zingoni spread.
Just asking the questions that the listeners want answered.
It sounds like a pornographic term to me, the Zagoni spread.
Oh, we dream. But sadly, there we go. There's a YouTube video of it.
Good.
It's not even a
How
joke.
did they do that?
Oh, it's not even a
He's
joke.
been dead for years.
So, you once told me that I asked you the hardest move you ever learned in professional showbiz. I don't even remember the answer you gave. You said the hardest move was selling Jinsu knives.
Oh, yes.
You said the hardest move, when they do the knife moves?
Yeah.
Johnny said it's the hardest move to learn. So you sold knives.
Like at Benny Hanna's.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they weren't.
No, not Benny
They
Hanna's.
weren't Genshoes when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
what were they?
First of all, I had a friend, Lee Jenner, was a harmonica player. His uncle was a bit of a con artist, and after the Second World War, and I was a kid, he had a needle that would sew silk stockings before nylons came around, and he could repair them.
Yeah.
And I learned I could do it for about 20 to 22 seconds or so. And so I'd be standing there, and he said, "Anyone here, kid, take this." And I'd start doing it, and he says, "If he can do it, any of you can do it."
And I assume that's a very hard thing to do?
Yeah, it was very difficult. He was the only guy I knew who could do it,
And he was doing that to sell the special needle.
Yeah.
And he actually had the skill. So
Yeah.
that's the stuff at fairs that kills me.
Yeah.
Where you're selling a an object, but you actually have the skill that makes the object work.
And the knives were not Gensho knives; they were glass knives at the time.
Oh yeah.
Glass
And yeah, they
knives.
didn't have to be sharpened or anything. But the wonderful thing, they were glass knives. They would break. You'd have to buy another one, you know. But that's what it was. They were glass knives.
And could you do all that slicing the tomato stuff? And
Yeah,
things like
you
that?
do all of that with it. Yeah.
And how-
Again, I was a kid there that he had, you know.
Oh, anybody
Do you
can
do the
use
thing
this.
where you throw the egg up and you slice it and you put it in your hat?
No, we didn't do that. But maybe
You were talking about the Benny Hanna
Hanna's, yeah.
stuff. No, this is a
Yeah.
different thing.
this is a different
really like
era.
Benny
Benny
Hanna's.
Hanna wasn't around then.
Well, it's a really good place to eat.
You like them when they make a little volcano out
Oh
of the
yeah,
onions?
really. That's my favourite bit. That's the bit I wait for. Yeah.
Well, that
And you
makes
like them when they
sense.
do the ketchup bottle with the string in it?
You
Oh,
being,
yeah.
You being a dragon, do you light it for him?
Yeah, sneeze on it.
Okay.
Have you found the Zingoni spread?
Nope. This is going to keep me busy for
There
the rest
are
of the
magic
podcast.
terms that do sound pornographic, like the
Yeah.
Zingoni
Like any magic term.
Like the double lift.
Yes,
Like the bottom deal.
Like the
Yeah.
spread pass.
Like
Yeah,
the second.
exactly.
Like any form of pass.
Yeah, any form of
Phalange.
spread.
Yeah. In jug, out jug.
Yeah.
The old middle deal.
How about bottoms?
Look at that sweet second.
69ing. Oh, wait. That's not a magic
No,
term.
that's the real sex thing.
Oh, okay.
And you were in the Harmonicats.
Yes. Yeah. First time I worked with him, I was 16 years old. The bass player.
That 16 was a busy year for you.
Yeah, no, 12 was the busiest year. 12 was when I was with Waldo and all of that. And yeah, that was a great year for me because at 12, I got into magic when I discovered
You remember I found you that picture of Waldo.
It's hanging on my wall. You found me an
I heard
8 by
that story
10.
and I got an 8x10 of Waldo and gave it to Johnny.
Yeah, so what were you just asking me?
I was asking about harmonica. Harmonica when you were 16.
Yeah. So at 16, Don Less's father died, and they needed someone to replace him. I took my first plane ride on Braniff Airlines. It was a kind of a milk run, you know. They stopped and picked up mail, and it was a prop plane. We went from Chicago to Sioux City, Iowa, and it took 6.5 hours just to fly to Sioux City, Iowa, you know, which
Oh,
is now
man.
nothing. But
Fill a cigarette smoke.
yeah, and I did an auto show with them, and they were shocked that I knew their material.
Now, how'd you
know.
learn bass harmonica?
Well, I was doing a date and doing magic, and there was a harmonica act called.
Okay, what are you doing?
I'm listening to. I'm trying to find out what the Zingoni spread is, guys. Just be grateful it's keeping me busy.
Yes, it keeps him quiet.
Oh my God.
Keep looking. Keep
Yes,
looking.
I'm looking,
Yeah,
Johnny.
Okay. Where the hell was I before he
You were in Sioux
rudely
City,
interrupted me again?
Iowa,
Yeah.
and you were about to ask
It
you
was
before
an
that.
auto show.
How'd you learn to play harmonica?
Yeah. Oh, how I.
Because bass harmonica is a stupid
Yeah,
instrument.
well,
Nobody plays that.
there was this act on the show called the Paul James Duo, and they played a small chord harmonica and a lead harmonica, and I got fascinated. So the guy who was my assistant in those days, and his sister worked with me, and he got fascinated. So we went, and he lent me the money. It was $75 to buy, and this is in the 40s.
Yeah.
It was a
Wow.
ton of money.
That's like $1,000 now, $1,200.
Yeah, so I was working as a soda jerk in a Walgreens, drugstore, and I paid him off $10 a week until I could get, which was just a hair less than I was making, but I paid him off, and when I bought the thing, I decided I'm going to have to learn to play this.
Why'd you pick bass harmonica?
I was fascinated with bass, bass fiddle, upright, and so I decided that's what I wanted to play. And I actually went to the Jerry Murat School of Harmonicat School of Harmonica. I'm the only guy who went to the school and actually became part of the act.
Like those tribute, like Judas Priest, right? With the tribute act that actually ended up in the real show. Yeah.
So
Just want you to know, Penn, you were right. way closer than you think. $75 in 1940 is worth $1,320.
See, I can do that in my head.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know I was spending that much, I guess. But then in 1951, I worked here. You say 56 in the show, but it's actually 51 that
Is
I
it?
did this. Yeah.
I'll have to change that.
Yeah, 1951, there were
If we do
5
the show
hotels
again.
on the strip.
You
In
know, I-
56, there was more than 5 hotels on the strip. So, where the hell was I?
You went to the
Oh,
harmonica
yeah, it's
school.
the second time I worked the last frontier here. There were 5 hotels. There was the El Rancho. Everyone thinks the Flamingo was first, but it was the El Rancho.
Is that true?
Yeah, the El Rancho was
Was that
first.
Bugsy's? Was it?
No, Bugsy's was the Flamingo.
Yeah.
The El Rancho is the only unimproved property on the strip right now. It's the empty lot across from where the Sahara
Right.
was. And so there was the El Rancho, the Flamingo, the Last Frontier, the Desert Inn, and the Bingo Club, which later became the Sahara. And
Bingo Club's a better name than Sahara, don't you think?
and then in about 54, I went with him full time because Don had a detached retina. In those days, they had no cure for a detached retina. In fact, the poor guy had to lay 11 months with sandbags on either side of his head, not moving. And they thought their idea for curing it was to shoot a mucilage, they thought, around the eye that would maybe make the retina attached to it. Of course, it didn't. And so
Wait, he just lay there for it. That's all he did.
he laid there for 11 months, yeah. And
With
so,
what?
yeah, that was their idea of how to get it fixed. So anyway,
Even now with certain eye stuff, you have to lay.
yeah, oh
lay
yeah.
very,
Well,
very still
you know,
for
I have a problem with my eye, and they were going to fix it until they told me all the things I couldn't do, and they said you can't sneeze, you can't cough, or you can't blow your nose. Well, I have COPD. My God, I do that every day, you know. And they said you couldn't be over 1,000 feet above sea level, and I couldn't
And you
come
live
home.
Yeah.
So I declined on having the operation. I figure if it detaches, which is what would happen, I have a puckered retina. If it detaches, that's a simpler operation than the one they were going to do. So
What magic move is that?
what did he say?
What magic
wants to
move is
know.
the puckered retina?
We're not tip. I don't tip. I don't tip. I'm not going to tell you.
It's not even in the book.
That's right.
Did
I
you
left-
find the Zamboni spread?
I watched it 3 times. I have no idea what it is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is. It involves 3 cards.
What does
Yes.
it? What does it accomplish?
I don't know.
I don't either.
None of us know. Johnny was saying, doing the classic magician thing, like, read it in the book.
Yes.
Just go and you know, do yourself a favor, go and read it in the book, and that's always when people don't know what it is. You know, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to make it easy for you. You go back, you find it in the text, you read it, you learn it, and then you show it to me,
Because I am.
so that I can make sure you're doing it correctly.
That's correct.
That's what magicians do.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, on the bass harmonica, there's no inhaling, right?
No, the reeds are so long that they wouldn't respond by an inhale. In fact, the original bass harmonicas were tuned at octaves. One reed would start the other, you know, and you have to anticipate the note a little bit to get it to hit on the beat.
Right.
And I wanted to sound like a string bass, so I built my own harmonica, made it a single reed bass, so it would just get the one tone instead of the octave. The octave sounded very mechanical, you know, where this sounded more like a bass. And when we electrified it, I could get it to sound more and more like a bass fiddle.
And the only person, as far as I know, who uses bass harmonica is Paul Simon. Use it on the Boxer.
Yeah.
Right? That's used on
And
Graceland.
those are the ones tuned in octaves.
Yeah.
They have a brassy sound.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, the single reed doesn't have such a brassy sound.
And it plays on the Graceland record. It plays well with the accordion.
Yeah. Well, I can't can't always tell the last song I ever recorded because it was for you. It's just the title. Butt Fucked by the Family Dog.
Yes, that's
Yes. I don't want that to be my last recording, even though it
is that true?
Yes.
Your last recording was Butt Fucked by the Family Dog.
Yeah. That's
Playing
right.
bass harmonica for Penn Gillette. That's what you end up playing. That's what you end up playing. You still have your bass harmonica?
Yeah.
And you built it? How do you know? I'm sorry. How do you know how to build a bass harmonica?
This is what I was going to ask.
Okay.
It's like, what is it, Johnny? Just tell us something about it, please.
Okay.
Anything. Anything. Tell us something you tried to do and failed. Because at the moment,
Yeah, good idea.
bass harmonica, I rebuilt that from scratch, all right? Oh, doesn't Paul Simon have that? Yeah, but he does it wrong. This is how you should do it, Paul Simon.
He just does that brassy sounding
Yeah,
thing.
brassy, shitty Paul Simon.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
How do you build the bass harmonica?
Well,
Jen?
so there was a single reed bass harmonica, but it was tuned in G. Now the bass
Remember
harmonica,
it well, yeah.
the bass harmonica I play is like a bass fiddle, only I don't have the upper registers. It's only 2 octaves, but it goes from contra E to E below middle C. So I took the plates off, the lower plates off my bass harmonica, not the top octave, but the lower octave, and I just cut a comb, which is what they call the wooden base that holds it. But I cut, because we were electrified at that point, I cut it out of plastic, lucite, because I didn't have to worry about the resonance because it was, electronic at this point. And I used a drill press and just cut out, all this.
We don't know.
Spaces.
We don't know.
Well, I'm telling
We
you.
don't know, Johnny.
Yeah. Well,
We know none of this stuff.
okay. Are you going to play bass harmonica?
Maybe. And if I am, this is going to be... Somebody is going to need to know this stuff. And you're the only person who knows.
I don't tip. I told you, I don't tip.
We need you to tip.
No, just know I used a drill press and a piece of lucite, cut all of the wooden.
And then you decided to hang all your dreams on a jazz harmonica group.
Yeah, that
'Cause
was
that's where the money is.
yeah. I'm the Polish guy who thought he'd make it in jazz.
But here's the thing. Isn't that where all the money was?
I don't think so.
Weren't they
Listen,
the most successful?
No, the Harmonica Cats were.
Yeah.
They were doing jazz.
they had they had a hip name, but we played commercial music.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Cats in the 40s was a
It's for jazzy
term
name.
for hipster today, and that's where the pork pie hat came from and everything. The
but
bebop era.
Right now, you could start a group called the Harmona Hipsters.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Harmona Hipsters would do very well.
Done already.
Is there?
That was no. I just thought I'd say
That's
that.
what Johnny's going to do next.
The Harmona Hipsters.
Yeah, the Monica Hippers.
And you toured with the Harmona Cats all
Toured
over.
with the Harmonica Cats for a few years.
And then how long did you have that Fakakta jazz harmonica ensemble?
5 years. till
5 years you tried to struggle with that
Yeah,
thing?
and I was 25 grand in debt with the group.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God.
So I said, and as it became, I had so many changes of personnel in the group. The one harmonica player got fed up one day. He used to drive in from,
The who? What?
Well, his name was Bob Herndon, one of my partners. He played a very unusual harmonica that maybe only 6 people could ever learn to play. And that's why they don't make it anymore. But it looked like a court reporter's typewriter with all these buttons on it, and you could get any chord construction you wanted with it.
Is there a chance, Johnny, that you're just so committed to stuff that no one had the guts to tell you that you couldn't do any of this stuff?
I just love it that 3 years in, he's like, let's give it a couple more.
Yeah, and so I finally got so fed up with personnel change. I had some great players. I had a kid who played.
He's got one guy blowing into a court reporter's stenography.
Yeah, and
Another guy on breathalyzer.
Yeah, well, it was a chord harmonica, a lead harmonica, and a bass harmonica and drums. We were called the Harmonica Jazz Quartet. And
He wanted a classy name.
yeah, so it couldn't be the modern modern jazz quartet was already taken.
HJQ.
Yeah. So,
The jazzy aristocrat.
yeah, well, yeah, it could have been if you were familiar with the aristocrats. 'Cause that's what people felt. I'm going to hear jazz on what? The jazz musicians saw the word harmonica and they wouldn't come in. And the harmonica players saw the word jazz and they wouldn't come in. So we had to play to an audience of whoever walked through the door that didn't give a shit.
The only people you had were people that might not be bothered by the word quartet.
Yes, exactly. So, but
I hate jazz.
Yeah.
I hate harmonicas, but
I like
it's
quartets.
a quartet.
Yeah.
If I can see anything performed in 4,
Yeah.
I do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I had some good players. One happened to be a kid of 18, I started to tell you, and he played piano, but it was kind of, a drummer's piano where you only 2 fingers on the
No,
right
I don't
No,
know.
we
I don't know.
Anything you say prefaced by we don't. We just don't know, Johnny.
Well, all right. Anyway, this kid
A
turned...
drummer's piano?
What is a drummer's piano?
One day he played drums for me, and I said, "Quit playing piano. This is your..." And it was a guy named Jack DeJohnette. That was who I was in my group. Jack DeJohnette, who's the hottest black drummer in the business.
Why do you have anybody else on the podcast?
I just didn't know any better.
You
What a-
moved Jack DeJohnette from piano
Chicago, yeah, playing in Chicago.
to drummer. You moved him from piano to drummer.
Well,
That was your suggestion.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I mean, he was playing.
Why don't you move Piff into what he's good at?
Yeah, what am I good at? We all want to know.
Being a fake dragon?
Operating the cup button.
You.
What is he good at? What is Piff
What is he good at? There must be one thing.
I'm still waiting.
God. Me too.
Pissing me off while he interrupts. I guess that's
I'm
what
really
he's
good at that.
Now, Johnny.
Yeah.
When anyone asks me, who's the best magician you ever saw work, who's your favorite, I have one answer, and that's Johnny Thompson. What's your answer?
The best one I ever saw?
Who did you look up to the most? Who was the guy you called for all your questions?
Charlie Miller.
Charlie Miller. Yeah.
And Harry Reiser.
Why don't you talk about Charlie Miller and Harry
Well,
Reiser?
Charlie Miller was probably the greatest all-around magician I ever met. I mean, he was brilliant at cards as much as Vernon was. And in fact, a wonderful magician named Percy Diaconis.
Oh, sure. And Harvard mathematician.
He is well known. He's the leading expert in probabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from his background. With cards.
Yeah, so to speak, yeah.
So to speak,
his
yes.
His background in cards.
Yes. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But Percy, by the way, probably one of the finest sleight of hand performers I've ever seen. He and Forte here in town.
Yeah,
Steve Forte, maybe the 2 best hands I've ever seen with sleight of hand, along with Charlie and Vernon.
Mm. And just tell us a little bit about Charlie.
Well, Charlie was my mentor. He was also known in magic as the magic's greatest house guest. He stayed with people all over the world. When I really got tight with him, he came into Chicago to stay at Magic Inc., Jay Marshall and Francis Ireland Marshall's magic shop. He came for 3 weeks. He stayed 3 years. He lived with me for 10 years, and I remember when I wrote his obituary, Bev Bergeron called me and said, "You left my name out. He stayed with me too, And he said, "What makes you think he's just staying with you? He was Magic's house guest, I said, "Well, I didn't know he stayed with you, Bev, but I guess I should have remembered he stayed with everybody known in Magic, But Charlie was just a great all-around magician. I started to say, Percy Diaconis said, not only was he great at cards, but he was really that good at apparatus magic,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was at Herb Zero, a wonderful card magician.
Yeah, another guy with a move named after him.
Yeah, Herb
Shuffle,
Zero.
yeah.
The Zero Shuffle.
We all know what that is, though, don't we?
You don't know.
I know what a Zarrow shuffle is. I just don't know what a Zingoni spread is.
If you don't,
Hey, I met Herb
if you
Zarrow's
don't know
nephew
the
the other day.
Zingoni spread, you probably can't do the Zarrow
I
shuffle.
can do a Zarrow shuffle.
Do a zero shuffle.
Give me
Do it
some
now.
cards.
I don't have any cards. Do you have any cards?
In my car.
Okay.
Get your
Go
card.
get him. I
Go
want
get
to see
him.
this
That's-
now. Go
yeah.
get him.
I would like
gonna
to
put
say
you on
it's a
the
dreadful
spot.
Zarrow shuffle, but I have no shame in showing it.
Well, I've seen your act. I know what you mean.
Oh my God! Wow.
Anyway, go ahead with your Charlie Miller while we're waiting to see Piff's famous zero shuffle.
Yes, oh yes. I can't wait to see this.
Oh, I'm going to give you some tips here, Johnny. On the old Zarrow shuffle.
Get out of show business. Yeah.
Just got to warm up the fingers. All right. They're getting in the game.
Is that what you call them?
No, they're like stumpy little.
No, I thought
I've got the
dragons
worst
had
fingers.
claws.
Paws.
Yeah.
Dragons don't have paws.
We have paws.
They have claws.
They
No,
have
paws.
claws. They don't have paws.
Hands up, who's a dragon in the room? This one over here. What, you're. Oh!
And he's your
Boom.
father.
Yeah, and who's going to be a dragon soon?
I am.
Yeah!
Yes, Grandpa. Pop,
Glad
pop.
Matt left the room at that point, otherwise he'd feel left out.
Well, couldn't do it. He's only been in magic too.
Oh, let's talk about being dragons, guys.
Okay. Okay, talk about it.
We're
There wasn't much to say.
And, so Charlie Miller and
So I was just he was the greatest all-around magician I've ever seen, and you know he lived with me for 10 years, and in magic we call getting together and expressing our ideas about magic back and forth to each other. We call it sessioning. Yeah. And every day I was home and off the road with Charlie, we had a session, and during that 10 years. We had hundreds and maybe thousands of sessions, and I would say that he never repeated anything. It was always fresh material. That's how much knowledge he had. If I gained any knowledge, it was from Charlie, you know.
here's a brand new deck of cards.
Okay, let's
in
see
Piff's miraculous hands.
Piff will now perform the Zarrow on the table shuffle as created by Herb. Well, not as created at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Invented.
Yes, but no, what Herb Zarrow invented and what I'm about to perform share no relation.
I can. Well, let's see. I'll be the judge of that.
Wait.
Herb Zarrow rolling over in his grave right now.
Look, here's
Call
my,
that
here's
the
my
Zarrow
regular
shuffle.
full shuffle.
Oh, yeah. If you call that a false.
Ah, God damn it! He doesn't call that a full shuffle. Oh,
Wait a minute.
this is
He taught me
depressing.
that. That's all. That's the only one I've been
Yeah,
working
don't.
on.
Why are you learning from me? You know Johnny Thompson.
I taught him everything he could learn. That was
Now-
6 tricks.
Herb Zarrow's
100%.
Herb Zarrow's nephew is now weatherman in New Jersey. I'm not kidding.
Who?
Herb Zarrow's nephew is a weatherman in New Jersey. He's a very nice
What has
man.
that got to do with magic? Or the Zarrow shuffle?
Why is that not a relevant point?
What, that you know Herb Zarrow's nephew?
Yeah, that's very
That's
relevant.
as close as you ever came to meeting Herb
Yes,
Zarrow.
it is, Johnny. That's factually correct. That's the point I'm trying to make. That is exactly the
You
same
make
point.
that point all the time.
No, I don't. I've never told you before I met Herb Zarrow's
Well,
nephew.
no, it's about anything.
Oh, I cannot-
I know his
I
brother-in-law.
cannot wait to make this show where
that's
you
how
are
you
my
met Penn.
grandfather.
You said you knew his
It just
sister-in-law.
writes itself. It just writes itself.
Yeah.
Johnny, this is.
Well, of course, I've coined that.
Yes, writes itself.
I'm just going to now perform this shuffle until Johnny says it's. What is it? Passable? Nope. All right. Hang on. Give me another go. Give me another go, Johnny. I can do it. There we go. What about this?
That's a real shuffle.
It's not.
Boom.
That's my full shuffle.
Boom!
Check, check.
Yes! Oh, ladies and gentlemen! Yes! It doesn't get better than that, ladies and gentlemen.
He fooled Johnny Thompson?
Yes! That's it. Done. Piff the Magic Dragon retires from show business.
Show me that false shuffle.
What?
I'm back.
Do it for me.
Piff, I'm back to learning it. I'm back to learning it. You
Dude,
just fooled Johnny
let me
with
get the
it.
angle on it. No, I can't. You.
Oh, like this.
It's just making him feel good. Shh.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. You could see it in his eyes, but I still take it anyway.
That's not bad.
No, what do you mean it's not bad? Johnny Thompson said it was a real shuffle.
It looks
I
good.
was humoring you.
It's pretty good.
I don't give a shit.
I know
I don't care. I'll take it, Johnny.
I know. Anyone who's made a career out of losing would take it for granted that I gave him a compliment.
Yeah.
I use Piff's Fall Shuffle and Penn's favorite card force.
Yeah,
What's Penn's favorite
It's not
card
Piff's Full
for?
Shuffle.
a slip force.
I know. It's not.
Oh,
What is that called? Piff?
It's called the Truffle Shuffle by Derek
Oh, yeah.
LaGuardia, who does it quite a lot better than me.
yeah.
You know the
I
truffle
know
shuffle.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make him feel good.
I feel great.
Johnny, what's your favorite Fall Shuffle?
My favorite is the strip out shuffle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So hard to do.
Yeah. Why are you surprised by that? Hey, Johnny, can you do a Zero Shuffle for us?
Sure.
Oh, look at it. No hesitation.
Okay.
Oh.
Hang on.
Can I just point out, it's actually very difficult to do a strip out Zero Shuffle on this surface, and yet Johnny Thompson does it flawlessly every time. Oh, look at that.
It looks
Wow.
It looks so good.
Look at it. Oh,
Now, what's your favorite one? What's the strip?
look at he's doing. Oh, god damn it, it's just so good. Listen, here's the thing. Any other magician, they'd be whipping out their close-up mat at this point to perform a Zero Shuffle on the table.
He just does it on a hard table.
He's just like hard table, no problem. Learned this when I was 12.
And, you know, I taught you the oink shuffle,
Yep.
which is
What's the
kind
oink
of like
shuffle?
the zero. The oink shuffle is this.
Oink shuffle's good.
You got to say oink when you do it, though. This is the oink shuffle, okay?
That looks good.
Everything. Why is this? Everything he does looks good.
It does. It does.
I had
Everything
good
he does.
teachers. Charlie Miller, Harry Reiser, Dave Vernon.
Tell us about Harry Reiser.
Harry Reiser was not a professional magician. He was in the insurance business, actually, but one of the greatest sleight of hand performers, and he could have been. In fact, he did pay his way through college by performing magic, and maybe the greatest sleight of hand performer I ever saw. His hands were so natural. If I learned the value of palming cards from Harry Reiser because his hands were. Well, look at if you're going to palm a card, that's it. It's there. And
Why do you have any other guests?
no, we wanted you on.
Lock
for
the doors,
oppo-
Matt. He's never getting out.
That's true.
We brought
Buckle
you
up for
on.
29 hours.
We brought you on to show the difference.
Oh, we didn't need to bring me on to show the difference. We could have just referenced me when I was outside the building. That would have been fine.
But here's the question, though. Here's the thing, Piff. How much do you practice sleight of hand now, Johnny?
At least an hour to 2 hours a day.
It's unbelievable.
How much do you practice sleight of hand now, Piff?
At least 15 minutes when I'm on stage.
And it depends on how many things he does with sleight of hand. Sometimes it's only 10.
What is your practice regime? What do you do when you sit down to practice?
I practice shuffles. I practice palming. I practice certain routines, and I'm always learning new material.
Do you run through it in some sort of order? Do you have like a warm up?
No, I let my hands go where I feel what I should be working on at the time. And generally, I'm trying new material as well.
Since we're talking about Paul Simon, you know, I met Paul Simon and spent a lot of time with him in the late '80s, and Paul Simon was, I believe, at that point, the most successful financial songwriter.
Well, everyone doesn't realize Garfinkel had nothing to do with
Right.
those songs.
Yeah, Garfunkel just sang them.
Yeah.
But Paul Simon, and a very, very good guitar player. And we'd hang out a little bit. And he was taking flamenco guitar lessons. And I said, "You going to play flamenco guitar?" He said, No, I just like to learn stuff.
Yeah.
And Lou Reed, who had the clearest guitar style. I mean, if
Yeah.
you wanted to sound like Lou Reed, you sound like Lou Reed. He was taking guitar lessons on how to play like Scotty Moore, Elvis's guitar player, learning a kind of finger picking that would never, ever be appropriate for what Lou did. And that's when I realized what real professionals do, you know, learning brand new stuff
Exactly.
that wouldn't in any way affect what they were doing, except it does. except it does.
Well,
This kind of answers my first question from the first podcast.
What was the
What's
first
that?
question from the first podcast?
Oh, it took 5 minutes to ask the first time, so I don't want to repeat it. But I said, how much is it worth still learning stuff? Like, even though you want to be a stage magician, how isn't it still worth? Is it or is it not still worth learning little stuff off the rack, little tricks here?
Well,
and there?
that's why I consider myself a
General practitioner.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. I knew I was something.
I'm there for you.
But because I didn't know any better, I thought you had to learn to do everything. If you're going to be a magician, you should be able to do close-up magic, and coin work, cards, and stage and illusions, and
But every magician does define themselves by one thing they do, apart from one, which is you.
okay.
Every magician is like, I'm a trade show magician, I'm a manip act, I'm a close-up guy, I'm a silent performer. That's what every magician does that. Except you come along.
Well,
Oh yeah, I was a trade show magician for 15 years, but not before I'd been in the Harmonica Jazz Quartet.
well, and in between, well, when I first got back into magic, when I was a kid, I built a bird act. And was learning close-up magic, but when I got back into magic, I had to start out learning my close-up magic because I had been away from it for 15, 18 years playing harmonica, and so the first jobs I got was being a bar magician. Bar magic started in Chicago, and I was the only guy who did bar magic for several years who never poured a drink. Yeah, but consequently, they worked the hell out of me. They said, "Okay, go work those tables. Go over here now. Work the bar." I was lucky if I could get a break to go to the toilet. For God's sake.
Well, when I was, I must have been 20 years old, I went to the Forks Motel, Buffalo, New York.
See Eddie Fector.
And saw Eddie Fector.
Wonderful.
And it was just like the kind of art of that. There's a kind of thing, it's a shame that more people don't get to see close-up magic, because there's an intimacy
Yes.
that you never ever see. The idea of doing a performance for 4 or 5 people at a time is a really wonderful thing that no one has found in the past few years a really financially viable way to do it.
Well-
Although they're starting a place in Chicago now.
Well,
I was just there. I went there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
well,
Chicago Magic Lounge.
And it's beautiful, right?
Oh, it's so good.
But you didn't see it working.
But see, in the days when we were doing bar magic, they were just neighborhood bars. Now they put $1 million in and
More,
all
5,
of that,
yeah.
But
Sweet
when I
cash.
was around, all you did, you had a bar, you worked the bar, and a lot of them were circular or oval shaped, and you'd work the entire bar. Then you work tables and back to the bar, and so that was the only way to make a living. Then the trade show market opened, and that really paid the best money for close-up. I mean, Eddie Tulloch and I were the top money makers doing trade shows back in the 60s, and we were getting, in those days, $1,500 a day.
How much is that, Penn?
$1,500 a day in the 60s would have been close to $12,000.
Yeah, so...
This is such a good skill. I've never met anyone who can do this.
Wait a minute. Who can argue with him?
He's checking it out.
Okay, check
it
it
right now.
out.
I do believe everything anyone says with a sort of conviction, so yeah, I agree.
Check it
Well,
out.
that's the
60,
problem
you said,
with
right?
dragons.
1960?
1960.
In the
$1,500. I said $12,000 now.
This little machine, my little widgets, stop working.
Oh.
Hold on. Come back to me.
Okay.
Well, come back to us when you got the figure.
I will.
I
This
want
is
to
the
know
other
how
thing,
much
is
I
that
was making.
Johnny doesn't do anything, and I did that, and I did a few gigs, and it was passable, and then I moved on. It's always like, I did trade show magic, became the greatest trade show magic performer in America.
Oh, well, Eddie
I'm not
Tulloch
bragging.
was, yeah.
I'm just telling you the hard facts.
Well, we were the highest.
No, we
paid
know,
guys.
Johnny.
Yes.
We know. We know.
And I do want to say, you got it?
$12,577.
Come on, Johnny. That's pretty good.
$12,500.
I think you got a new career.
It's really not bad. It's not a bad skill. I like it a lot.
I couldn't do that.
I
can't
sort
do
of
it.
nailed it.
I made the money and I didn't know how much I was making.
Yeah. Can I
know
ask
both.
one?
What's that?
Yeah, you know both. You know both the inflation calculations.
Yeah.
Can I give you one?
I'm not. No, I'm going to stay here.
Really?
I'm going to stay pat.
That's how confident you are.
You don't want to lose. You
Yeah,
know?
I can see it.
Well,
You're the only guy we know who's made money out of losing.
He's a great loser.
Here's what you do. Yes, I lost on Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh, that's
And
true.
then the country lost big on Celebrity Apprentice.
Yes, yes. Yes, they did.
They lost a lot bigger than I did.
Yeah.
Johnny, I don't have these ideas by myself. I look to others to what's successful. Penn, great loser. Seth Wood dressed up as a caterpillar. Was that great?
That caterpillar is going to really set your career off. You have somewhere to go now.
So, if you want to see more of Matt Donnelly,
Yes,
you want to check out Hillbill,
Yeah.
the Mind Noodler.
that's right.
If you want to see more of Piff the Magic Dragon,
Yeah.
he travels all over the world.
Yeah, whatever. If you want to see more of Johnny Thompson,
You can see The Gambler's Ballad, which for
that's great.
which was for a while was only playing on Showtime at like 6 a.m., but soon it'll be on demand.
That was, you know, what the greatest thing about that was you said to me, "Oh, hey, we're doing this trick and we filmed it. Come and watch it."
Uh-huh.
That's not the story. It's a love letter to Johnny
It
Thompson.
is. It is.
That's
well,
what that is.
Of all the people who have loved you in your life, Johnny, I'm kind of at the top, you know.
You know, I
Pam may be close. Keller may be close.
but I got to tell you what I told you a few weeks ago. I said, in the last 2 years, you've done more for my career than I did in 56 years. It's really true. I mean, I'm in their show. They open when they walk in. It's a prop of mine from the 60s, and you know, they did this movie.
Yeah, but
How did I know I'd do so well at this age?
The Gambler's
Because
Ballad,
of him and Teller.
The Legend of Johnny Thompson is a really nice documentary that Emery did, and it's all about Johnny. And Arsenio Hall's in it. David
Yeah.
Copperfield, Derek is in it. Matt
I
King.
did a gig with Arsenio Hall.
Did you?
Yeah. Do you know the first thing I said to Arsenio Hall before my name?
What?
I know Johnny Thompson. I saw that. Arsenio, I know Johnny Thompson.
What?
Bang, I was in.
You were in. Yeah.
That was the surprise when you were doing Celebrity Apprentice. Teller called me and said, "There's somebody who wants to talk to you." And it was Arsenio Hall. And he said, "You won't remember this." And I said, "Wait a minute. You weren't the kid who came to the Higbee department store in 1973, and I taught you magic." He said, "Yeah, you started me in magic. I never had a chance to. You started me in show business. I never had a chance to thank you." And
What Arsenio wouldn't say, he didn't want to say this publicly because he thought it would be cheesy, but he said from his youth that you were the least racist person he'd ever met in
Oh,
his
that's
life.
nice to
And of
hear.
all the nice things we've said about Johnny Thompson, we've said a lot. It's nice to hear that. It's really, he just couldn't believe how you took him under your wing and taught him all that stuff. And of course, I've known you forever. Certainly didn't surprise me, but it surprised Arsenio.
Listen, when I finished the Cosmo show, I was brought over here to be in this show at the Cosmopolitan, and my contract was to have a solo show at the Cosmopolitan, and then that went down in flames in 7 months, and then the Cosmo said, "Oh, we want you to come and do a solo show," and Johnny worked on my solo show for nothing. At any time, I would ask him. He
I've
would
been
say, "I'll
meaning
be
to
there."
talk to you about that, too.
Why do you think his name's not on the credit? He refuses to put it there. For nothing. Anytime, any place, he'd be there. He'd be like, "Yes, I'm there." He was like recovering from pneumonia at the time. "Yeah, I'll come and walk around the showroom with you and look at it."
And also, just a side note, I'll plug Piff's podcast, a particular one. He interviewed a fella named Frodo. If you want to hear the story of that Cosmopolitan show, it is told best through that podcast.
Yeah, that's
that was great.
Yeah. Johnny Thompson, responsible for everything great in magic.
And Johnny Thompson, if you want his 2-volume book of everything he's done, you can't get it. Fuck you.
Yeah, they sold.
Sold out
No,
forever.
we have a second edition.
Okay, second edition.
Just was.
And who's the
How many
publisher?
times have they sold 1,500 magic books in life?
At $300 a piece.
Yeah, never. Bang, sold out
They
instantly.
used to sell 2,500 at one time over a period of time. This was kind of amazing to me because at the cost of $300 for 2 volumes.
By the way, in 1948, $2.
Oh, he's going in retrospect now.
He can go both ways.
Oh, I've heard that.
True. That's John. You're working on it.
I am.
Where'd you get the magic book from?
I gave it to me.
No, oh, God damn it.
I had
I was
copies
plugging it for Johnny.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
it
Where did you get it
Magicana?
from?
Magicana?
You can get it from Magicana, and you can buy it in most of the magic shops.
Where'd you get most money from?
Everyone.
Really?
Well,
Doesn't Magicana give you more money than other people? Or?
well, yeah.
How do we give you more money?
Because I'm actually self-published. Here's the strange thing. We worked 12 years on this book, and I got to say that it wasn't moving fast enough, and I mean, when we started on it was when the concept came up was around 2003, and then a few years later we actually started doing it, and when we turned it over, Jamie Swiss said to me, "Why don't we use David Ben to produce this, and be the production manager and so forth?" And David and Julie Yang and the people over at Magicana really made it happen, and they got it together, and we did it in less than a year after that.
Yeah.
So buy one copy to read, one copy to sell.
Yeah.
That's the advice.
Very, very rich in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was kind of shocked, it sold out in 2.5 weeks. I thought at $300 we'd be lucky to sell 400 or 500 copies, and it was a real shock to me, and now we've just printed another 1,000, and
You have to sign them by hand twice.
oh yeah, I had to sign overall 2,500 copies.
You know how long this took him?
How long?
Oh, well, the first one was 8 days, and if you look at that particular set, the 1,500 set, and you look at the 1,000, which I didn't have a time limit on, my real signatures in the last 1,000 books, the first one is just almost scribbly, for God's sake.
Who would do that? Who would spend 8 days signing 1,500 books?
With
Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
The Beatles would take turns signing the autographs.
Oh, really?
And they would sign all 4. So it'd be Ringo's day to sign them, then it'd be John's day. And collectors know that you not only want to get all 4 signatures, but you want all 4 done by Paul, all 4 done by John.
Wow.
Oh, good Lord.
That's the set you want. So people can recognize who's doing each other's
I
signature.
looked into one of those pens that, doctors.
automatically, yeah.
But they're like $2,000
Yeah.
bucks.
What?
and so
What's this
forth,
pen?
yeah.
There's an auto pen that does an actual signature.
You do the
Your
signature
exact
once,
copy.
and then it repeats it.
But it's not printed. It's actually signed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's used by senators a lot.
Yeah.
Like that.
And some doctors also, yeah.
But Johnny Thompson, no. 8 days.
I had no choice. I couldn't afford $2,000.
Oh, my God. We could have had a whip round for you. Oh.
We were when Teller and I we were doing like one of these benefits, and they had 2,000 posters to sign, and all the other entertainers were amazed when Teller and I sat down, because Teller and I can bang out Penn and Teller signatures.
Well, I've
wicked
seen your
fast.
signature. I can
Oh, it's
imagine
awful.
why.
It's awful. But the thing is, I can't read my own writing. I don't have a good signature. And people say, "Is that the signature you really use?" And I go, "Yes." But when someone says to me after I've signed an autograph for them, they say, "Boy, that's an awful signature," I always say, my mother says, my mother was there once, and a person asked for my autograph, mother standing next to me, and I signed my autograph. Person looked at it and said, "Boy, that's awful handwriting." Mother said, "Were you brought up to ask for a favor and then criticize the person?"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Mom was backing you.
I've got a Britney Spears poster signed by Britney Spears, possibly, which looks nothing. I mean, there's no BRITNEY in there at any stage, but at no point have I ever questioned it.
No, why would you?
I've just hugged it close to me as I sleep.
Sure. Or as you're going to sleep.
What a princess.
We have got Matt Donnelly.
Yes.
We've got Piff the Magic Dragon. We got Johnny Thompson. If you want to see Johnny Thompson work, go to see any magic show in the world.
Any magic show.
Some of Johnny
And see his
Thompson's
work
in there.
ruined.
Yeah. Some of Johnny Thompson is in every piece of magic in the world today.
Well, I don't know about
And
that.
probably for a good long time. That was Penn Sunday School.
Can we just keep going, just for our
Cha-cha-cha.
personal archives?
We are good. I want to work on this move. He's
Yeah.
this move.
What move?
There's this
Balls in the net.
balls in the net trick I want to
Oh, yeah.
Another pornographic sounding net.
Balls in the net.
I got the with balls.
Balls over the head.
Yeah.
They're all pornographic.
Yeah, sure.
I'm closing my show with the $100 card
You
trick.
should. I mean,
I
no
will.
kidding. No kidding.
It's great. I got to finish watching it.
Well, I have a bunch of wallets coming, so. Well, because the knockoffs, you know how magic dealers are, they want to be able to sell anywhere, so the wallets they sell on the knockoffs, like Joe Stevens and this guy in Germany, they just have a 7 and a heart, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they don't understand the punchline of the trick is read by the spectator. And the punchline is what I have in real print. You know, it says, you will select the 3 of spades.
And if Johnny Thompson wants you to select the 3 of spades,
You're gonna
you
select the
will
three
select
sp-
the 3 of spades.
Right.